Have you ever wondered what it takes to put on a one-day conference and stream it out to YouTube and Twitter? In this video, I'm going to take you behind the scenes at the Client Ascension Tampa Mastermind from October 2023. Let's take a look and see how it all came together. So back in October 2023, the Client Ascension team brought me in to help them produce their live mastermind from Tampa, Florida, and broadcast it out to the web. We wanted to broadcast it both on their main Twitter account and on a number of different YouTube accounts that were controlled by the CA team. Plus, I was there to produce the in-person experience as well. So that was making sure that the stage was laid out properly, making sure that we had all the audiovisual that we needed, and working with the venue and all of our in-house partners to make sure that the whole production actually got done. So here's an overview of what we did. And this is an overview of what we do for a lot of our clients here at Tractus. We worked with local AV and staging companies to make sure that we had all of the equipment that we needed. We brought in a stage to the venue along with stairs. We worked with a local audiovisual team. They brought in their televisions, rented us a number of handheld and headset microphones, and a complete sound system so that the event looked and sounded its best. Plus, we had them bring in a ton of cabling, ton of wiring, so that we were able to get some cameras in the room as well. We also were responsible for coming up with all of the live stream graphics, so all of the titles at the bottom to identify all the different speakers. And we also worked with both the venue, our AV partners, and our staging partners to make sure that load in and load out happened when we had access to the room. As it turned out at that venue, there was an event happening just prior to ours, so we had to do a bit of late night coordination to make sure that everything got set up for show day. Now, I just want to stop for a second and address something. You might be wondering, why did we decide to go live on Twitter and YouTube? Well, the answer is quite simple. We wanted to have gigantic reach. We wanted this content to reach as many people as possible. Because not only is it valuable content and the CA community is doing something fantastic by providing this content online, but it is a huge sales asset for Client Ascension. Think about it this way. We have content from Eddie Malouf and Taylor Welch and everybody else that's associated with Client Ascension. That content can now be turned into a number of different sales assets. We can make short form content out of it. The individual sessions themselves can be replayed. Plus, moving on to the next point, for anybody that was on the fence before about getting a ticket to future events, we now have the ultimate fear of missing out, or FOMO, generator. Look at the energy when you see that replay. Look at the energy. You can almost feel it exuding from that replay. You would, if you had a ticket, you had a chance to be among the 150 or so people that were in the room, just absorbing all that knowledge and having a chance to pick the brains of some incredible entrepreneurs. Plus, of course, the content longevity. It doesn't cost Client Ascension anything to supply replays to their audience now. So that content lives on, it's an evergreen piece, and it also demonstrates the sheer expertise and knowledge of the great coaches that are inside the Client Ascension community. Now, how did we go through the live streaming process? How do we actually go from zero to live streaming the event? Well, of course, there was the planning and preparing stage. So we worked with the venue. We figured out with the client what they wanted to pull off, what the speaker requirements were. We had some speakers that wanted to play out music during their sessions so that the audience could write down some notes or participate in some way. So we needed to gather all those requirements. So we worked with our client and worked with the venue and AV suppliers on behalf of the client to make sure that everything was in place so that they could just rock up and do their bit, that they could get on stage, do their speaking bit, and not have to worry about a thing. Of course, there's the physical setup, bringing everything in and coordinating when can we bring all the deliveries in. And I'll show you the timeline of just how fast it took us to set everything up. There's the actual physical setup. Where do the cameras need to go? Where do the microphones need to go? Where do the TVs and the speakers and everything in the room need to go? And then, of course, there's the technical setup. You wire it all together. You set up all the laptops. You make sure you've got a good stable internet connection, and you test all of that equipment out ahead of time. You test, and you test some more. I am a stickler for testing out all of our setups before we go live. And of course, after that, we actually go live. We hit that go live button, we transition to the main camera, and we are live to the internet. There's no turning back. It's like an airplane that's taking off and it's reached decision speed. You have to rotate that plane and get it in the air. And then, of course, there's producing the whole event, monitoring the internet connection, making sure there's no hiccups, bringing up titles when we need to, running microphones to and from the stage, bringing up the holding slide when we're not active, making sure there's music transitions between the speakers. All of these contributed to producing the whole event. And of course, editing down the replay and supplying it to the client afterwards. Then we get to show day. And let me take you through things hour by hour. 11:30 p.m. the night before, and again, the night before, 11:30 p.m., we got access to the actual room. As we got in there, venue staff are still cleaning up from the previous event, and we have to get rolling because we are live at 9 a.m. the next day. So we're less than 12 hours away from showtime. 11:45, our audiovisual crew arrived with their truck of magical gear. They've got the televisions, microphones, and all the other accessories we need to hook everything together. And of course, in my own flight carry-on bag, I had all the streaming gear. I traveled with a number of different laptops, plenty of cables. Made airport security sweat a little bit. That was fun. Then a little while after that, our fantastic vendors that had our stage arrived and they started to unload that into the venue. 12 p.m. we get into, or 12 a.m., excuse me, we get into the major setup. The AV team starts plopping down the televisions and getting everything mounted and getting the wiring all set up for all that stuff. I'm busy behind the desk wiring all the laptops and the soundboard and the microphones all together just to make sure that everything was ready to go. And then we get to about 12:55 a.m. and we've got the majority of the setup in place. The stage is in place. We've got the TVs all wired up and we're ready to do a bit of a shakedown. And the next hour or so we spend shaking out the system, doing the microphone test, doing the television test, doing a little bit of streaming tests as well, making sure that the room is set up and ready to go for the next morning. We get around to 1:45 a.m. and we're ready to do our main streaming test. The equipment is tested, shaken down, ready to go. So we start experimenting with doing some streaming tests. 2:15, our streaming test is done. We're confident that the internet connection is going to be stable enough for the next day. And I get to head back to my hotel room and get just a little bit of sleep and then get back on site for 7:45 a.m. that morning. Not the next morning, it's all one big day. Get back on site, shake out a few bugs. One of the TVs just wasn't working. Sometimes that happens. Unplug it, plug it back in again, and hey, it worked. Around 8:15, 8:30, our awesome video crew by the clip curator, Cam Munier. I hope I'm pronouncing your last name correctly, good sir. He rolls up with his fantastic videography team, and they brought, I think, 6 or 8 beautiful DSLR cameras for recording in glorious 4K ultra high definition. They're capturing footage for replays later. We tapped into their cameras so that we could get a beautiful feed for our live stream. And at 8:55 a.m., everything is taped down and ready to go. And we are ready to go live. We delay going live just a little bit to give people a chance to grab breakfast, grab their coffees, take a seat. And then 9:05 a.m. rolls around. Andre takes us live and we are in the air and we are on the air to the internet and to everybody in the room. And from there, it was really just about producing things, keeping an eye on microphone levels, keeping an eye on the live stream, just monitoring in general, bringing up titles as I needed to. And then we get to about 5:15 p.m. The live stream finishes, the live event finishes. I'm there with the AV crew. They roll up, the stage crew rolls up. We're doing the teardown. And just before 6 p.m., we're out of there. That's what the whole day looked like. Now let's talk about the numbers. How many people actually saw the live event versus the replay? Now, when I was monitoring the live event, we had a couple hundred viewers and that was really cool. But the replay is where you have the huge value. As of the time I'm recording this video, the Twitter version has been seen somewhere around 15,000 times with almost 75,000 tweet impressions alone. Now, part of this is down to the fact that the replay is their pinned tweet on their profile. So the first thing you see when you go to the Client Ascension Twitter page, you see the replay. So why not give it a watch? And then across the YouTube channels, we had about 4 and a bit thousand views. So far, the replay has been seen over 20,000 times across all the different platforms. 20,000 times. Keep in mind, the in-person audience was around 150 people. The Client Ascension team reached a small, well, not even a small, they reached a good-sized town worth of population with their replays. What were we using to power all of this? Well, to do our video mixing, we were using OBS, Open Broadcaster Studio, plus a beautiful little video mixer called the A10 Mini. Our cameras were fed into the A10 Mini from across the room. The A10 Mini was fed into our main streaming laptop. And then over top of that, we were able to bring on titles by using a piece of software called H2R Graphics. And then to stream this out to all the different platforms, we were using a magical service called Restream. And Restream allows you to stream your main live stream out to a number of different channels. You can stream it out to Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter. If you can name the platform, you can probably stream out to it using Restream. So these were the 3 pieces of software that really brought everything together. And of course, huge credits go out to everybody that was involved with the production. It wasn't just us. I was there helping coordinate everything, of course, and producing the event, but we couldn't have done it without our fantastic partners. The Hotel Haya, where we were filming, they were fantastic. It's a beautiful venue, and I'd highly recommend them. Cam Munier with the clip curator, him and his team of videographers were fantastic. They were capturing high def, ultra high def footage throughout the event. We were able to tap into their cameras and get some beautiful angles, beautiful shots through some incredible gear. The gear that they brought in was tens of thousands, maybe even, I think it was close to almost $100,000 worth of gear that was brought in just for this event. It was incredible. Jerry from Visual Advantage, our audiovisual partners, him and his team, they were fantastic in getting everything loaded in, set up fast, helped with the teardown. Just fantastic. Thank you again, Jerry, for letting me run all of your equipment. I appreciate it. Whenever possible, I love partnering up with audiovisual companies on the ground. Yes, we have our own audiovisual equipment for when we're doing shows that are in our local area, but I'm based up here in Ontario, Canada, and this event was in Tampa, Florida, the United States. A little bit far to drive with my own equipment, and we've had a fantastic local audiovisual partner in Visual Advantage. They were amazing. Thank you, Jerry. Marla from Event Options managed to figure out getting us a stage. She was fantastic. Event Options is fantastic for sourcing a lot of different event solutions, staging, audiovisual. So if you ever have any requirements down there in Tampa, Florida, talk to Marla from Event Options. And of course, I was down there producing the live stream, producing the live event, helping Client Ascension in the background plan out everything, organizing the audiovisual providers, organizing the staging, working and coordinating with Cam's team to get everything installed, and making sure that setup and teardown happened in an efficient way. So we were the ringleaders that brought the production side together. And after watching this, you thinking to yourself, you want to produce an epic live event? Well, that's what I do, and that's what my team here at Tractus Events does. If you're working on live streams, virtual events, hybrid events, get in touch. I'd love to talk to you about what you're working on. And hey, maybe if you took a look at the Client Ascension event and thought, you know what, I want to do something similar to that, get in touch. Find us over at tractusevents.com/RFP. All the details are at that site. You can also find copies of my book there, Memorable, Profitable, Virtual. It's all about how to run virtual and hybrid events that convert and that are, well, of course, memorable, profitable, and virtual. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, like and subscribe, share it with a friend, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.